Welcome to art. My name is Miss Ball, and I'm going to be your art teacher this year. I can't wait to get started making all of our wonderful projects. But before we dive in, there's a few things we need to go over. Here are our classroom rules. As you can see, our rules are special. They spell out a word. What's that word? Artist. Our rules spell out the word artist because in this class, everyone is an artist. Our first rule is the letter A, which means always do your best. Our second rule is the letter R, which means respect each other and the teacher. Our third rule is the letter T, which means take care of your supplies. Our fourth rule is the letter I, which means inside voices, please. Our fifth rule is the letter S, which means stay on task. And our last rule, number 6, is also a letter T, but this one means we turn our mistakes into masterpieces. Now that we've learned our rules for art, we're going to listen to a story, and then we're going to watch a short video that will help us learn how to be better artists, and then we're going to create some art to help us remember our classroom rules. It's story time, so get comfy, sit back, relax, and listen to this story, Ish by Peter H. Reynolds.
Ish by Peter H. Reynolds. Ish. Ramon loved to draw. Anytime, anything, anywhere. One day, Ramon was drawing a vase of flowers. His brother, Leon, leaned over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What is that?" he asked. Ramon could not even answer. He just crumpled up the drawing and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Ramon. He kept trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. After many months and many crumpled sheets of paper, Ramon put his pencil down. "I'm done." Marisol, his sister, was watching him. "What do you want?" he snapped. "I was watching you draw," she said. Ramon sneered. "I'm not drawing. Go away." Marisol ran away, but not before picking up a crumpled sheet of paper. "Hey, come back here with that." Ramon raced after Marisol, up the hall and into her room. He was about to yell, but fell silent when he saw his sister's walls. He stared at the crumpled gallery. "This is one of my favorites," Marisol said, pointing. "That was supposed to be a vase of flowers," Ramon said, "but it doesn't look like one." "Well, it looks vase-ish," she exclaimed. "Vase-ish?" Ramon looked closer. Then he studied all the drawings on Marisol's walls and began to see them in a whole new way. "They do look ish," he said. Ramon felt light and energized. Thinking ishly allowed his ideas to flow freely. He began to draw what he felt, loose lines, quickly springing out, without worry. Ramon once again drew the world around him. Making an ish drawing felt wonderful. He filled his journals. Tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, sun-ish. Ramon realized he could draw his ish fillings too. Peace-ish, silly-ish, excited-ish. His ish art inspired ish writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. Ponder, pond, ponder, dream, wander. Pond, pond, yond, yond, gleam, wander, Ramon. One spring morning, Ramon had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings could not capture. He decided not to capture it. Instead, he simply savored it. And Ramon lived ishfully ever after. The end-ish.
I hope you enjoyed Ish by Peter H. Reynolds. In our story, Ramon loved to draw, but his brother Leon didn't think his drawings were very good. But who did? That's right, his sister Marisol loved his drawings enough to dig them out of the trash and hang them on her wall. But did she think they were perfect? Not at all. She told Ramon they looked ish. But did Ramon have fun drawing? You bet he did. Do you all like to draw? I love to draw, and I hope you do too. Are your drawings going to look perfect every time? No, no one is perfect all of the time. But that's the best part about art. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about your work. As long as you love it, that's what's important. So in my class, we're all artists and we're all learning. So our drawings are perfectly fine being ish drawings. Now that we listened to our story, it's time to watch a video about an artist named Austin. Listen carefully to figure out what lesson Austin learned at the end of his project.
This is a story called Austin's Butterfly. And it's a true story about a first grade boy, and his name is Austin, and he goes to school, or used to go to school, in a town called Boise, Idaho. And in his class in Boise, Idaho, they were studying butterflies, and he had to do a project. His job in first grade was to draw a butterfly, and this is the butterfly that he picked. Austin had to use this photograph as his model, and he had to draw an accurate scientific drawing of this butterfly. This is called a tiger swallowtail.
I knew it!
Can you tell, Toby, why it's called tiger?
Because it kind of has the stripes of the tiger right there.
Good. So here was Austin's job. He was supposed to do a scientific drawing of that butterfly. But remember, Austin was only in first grade. And you know what he did? He forgot to look like a scientist carefully. He got his paper and he just started to draw the image of a butterfly that he had in his head. And he wasn't looking like a scientist, and so this is what he drew.
Whoa.
It's not bad, and it is a butterfly, but does it look exactly like this?
No.
No, it doesn't yet. It doesn't look exactly like this yet. Luckily, this wasn't a regular school where Austin went. It was an expeditionary learning school, just like Przumscott School. And so they didn't look at this and say, "Good, Austin, you're done." They said, "Austin, good start. Now we can start giving you critique so you can do a second draft and make it better, and a third draft and make it better, and you can make it much, much closer to this." And he was ready to go. All of the first graders in his critique group sat on the floor like you guys are, and they decided to split their advice into two kinds. First, just the shape of the wings. And then when the shape was right, they'd give him advice about the pattern inside the wings. Alia, what would you say?
You can make it much pointier.
Good. These wings could be much pointier. Who else would add something? Atak, what would you say?
How about the angle? Because, not to be mean about
Yes.
the angle, it's just not exact, so...
Okay, so show me. Come on up here, Atak. Show me what you would ask him to do slightly differently.
like to make it a little longer,
Longer where? Draw where you would do it.
right there.
Okay, so pull this out longer.
Yeah.
That's very specific, Atak. Thank you. Jamila, what would you say?
It's like triangle.
Good. Jamila, I love that. So you're saying more like a triangle shape. And I agree. Well, you know what? Those first graders came up with most of those same ideas. And you know what Austin said? He said, "Okay, I'll go try." And he went back to his seat and he drew this.
Wow.
Does this look more like a triangle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he go out further, like Atak was suggesting?
Yeah.
Did he add some jaggedness here,
Yes.
like Cindy? Did he get rid of that bottom thing?
Yes.
So he did listen to his friends, and he made it better. It's not perfect. Toby, what would you say?
I'd say don't put those little tail things so pointed in. I'd say put them more pointed down.
Good. Okay, and Ethan, what would you say?
I think you should make the wings like
this, not like just like.
Okay, he listened to his friends and they said, this is really a lot better, Austin. That second draft really is better.
Yeah, maybe you can make a third one.
Good, maybe he could make a third draft. And so he did this draft.
That's his third draft.
That's his third draft, Hadley. That's just right. Elijah, what do you notice there?
Well, one wing's more pointed than the other, and that side is a little bit higher than the others.
Good. Coburn?
Right here, it doesn't have the inside thing still.
Ah, okay. Needs a little bit more of that notch. So, do you think maybe he should do a fourth draft?
Yeah.
Well, that's just what he said. He said, shoot, okay, I got round again. I'll go back and do a fourth draft. He listened. Does it look more even like Elijah was suggesting?
Yes.
Yeah, and does it look like it's coming out a little sharper, like Cindy was suggesting? And like Attack was saying, it's a little, the angle looks a little better. So now Austin was feeling really good. He said, am I ready to add some pattern? And they said, okay, why don't you try adding some of the pattern? And he did.
He's good at it.
He is so good.
And then they said, Austin, you're ready for color.
Really?
Let's look at his last draft. And what do you think? Did it come out really good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually looks well.
Let me show you where he started, just to give you a quick reminder. And then, what do you think about how much progress he made? And Tak, what would you say about his progress?
He made like a lot of progress. He persevered doing it. His friends were honest with him.
What was it about the kinds of advice that they gave that allowed him to get better each time? Hassan?
Well, they told him what was wrong about it.
Did they say it's just wrong, or were they more specific than that?
They were more specific, but they weren't mean about it.
Great.
He
Hadley.
made 6 drafts.
And so is that something that other kids should learn from? What should we learn from that?
He can make other drafts if it's not right.
Good. So if it's not right, you can keep doing more drafts to make it better.
You just don't use things in your head. You want to use a sharp eye.
Good. He used the eyes of a scientist. Great.
I hope you enjoyed listening to the story of Austin's butterfly. Did Austin's first drawing of the butterfly look perfect? Was it an ish drawing? What did Austin have to do to get his butterfly drawing to look more like the photograph? Did he have to practice and keep trying over and over again? Is that something we can do as well? It sure is. When we're drawing in art class, it's okay for our first attempt to be an ish drawing, but you can always go home and keep practicing. And guess what? The more you draw, the better you're going to get. I bet by the time this school year is over, you're going to be amazed at how much your artwork is going to improve. But remember, the whole point of art class is to have fun. So don't worry if your drawings are ish drawings. That's perfectly okay with me. Now that we've listened to Ish by Peter H. Reynolds and watched Austin's butterfly, it's time for us to create some art. We're going to be making some art to help us remember our classroom rules. So listen carefully and follow along with me. Okay, before we get started with our project, we are going to take a look at the supplies we have. Now, if you remember, rule number 3, the first T in artist, is take care of your supplies. Now, because of the virus, we are not allowed to share supplies like you may have done in the past. And so what I have done is I have made everyone a little baggie. Now, this is my baggie. As you can see, I've got my name written on a piece of tape in my baggie. I don't want to peel this tape because I want to make sure that when I come back next week and I give you guys your baggie, that I know this one is mine and I'll know which one is yours. Now, in your baggie, you are going to have markers and crayons. Now, these are the markers and crayons we are going to be using for art this year. So these markers and crayons are going to stay in this baggie. I will give them out to you when I come into class. I will take them up at the end of class and I'll bring them back next week. So, what we're going to do when we are ready to use our supplies and we open our bag, are we just going to take everything and dump them out? No, we're only going to take out what we're using at a time. So if I ask you to get out your red marker, then that's all you're going to get out. When we are done with our red marker, one thing we need to do is we need to make sure we snap that cap. Listen, hear that snap? Now, if it's hard for you to snap that cap, you can always put the cap on your table, put your marker down, and press, and then you can still hear that snap. Now, you want to make sure that your cap is snapped on your marker, or else it's going to dry out and then you won't have a marker for next time. So when we are done with one thing, we put it back in our bag, and then we can get out the next thing we need. Say, for instance, we need our red crayon. We get our red crayon. Now, one thing about our supplies, are we allowed to share our supplies with anyone else? No, that's why it has your name on it. It's got your name on it because these are your supplies and only your supplies, okay? So while we are working, we only get one thing out at a time, whether that's a marker or a crayon, whatever I ask you to get. You need to get the correct color. Once we're done, you put it back in your bag, and then it's ready to go for next week. At the end of class, if you can, you're going to zip your bag closed, run your finger along that zipper, and then I will come and pick up your bags and put them back in the bin so that they'll be ready for next week. So remember, take care of your supplies, snap your caps on your markers, only get out one marker or crayon at a time, and then put them right back in when you're done. And do not share your supplies with anyone else. Now that we have listened to Ish by Peter H. Reynolds and we have watched Austin's Butterfly, it's time to do the project that is going to help us remember our rules in art. So, you guys all have your paper. Now, at the top, the first thing we do is write our name. So, get your pencil, and on that line, make sure you write your name so everybody knows that that paper belongs to you. Okay? So, once you've written your name, you can put your pencil up. We're not going to need that one anymore. And now we are ready to get our markers and crayons. Now, we're only going to use one marker and one crayon at a time. So we just get one thing at a time. So we've got the word artist. And I got these nice, cool, like they look like graffiti letters. I thought they looked pretty cool. So we are going to be coloring this like a rainbow. So we are going to be using all the colors of the rainbow. And we're going to start with A. So that color is going to be red. So we need a red marker. Okay. Now, A means always do your best. And then I picked a check mark to help us remember that A means always do your best. Because if you do good work on whatever you're working on, whether it's reading or math or science or whatever it is, you get a nice big check mark. So that means we always do our best. So we're going to take our marker, and just like we always do, we are going to outline the A. So we're just going to be tracing over the black line of the A. Always do your best. So just go around those black lines. And then you're going to go around the black line of your check mark. Okay? So outline your check mark, outline the A, and when you are done, make sure you snap that cap. Snap that cap. Put your red marker up, and we're going to get out a red crayon. And then we're going to color it in. So color in the A, color in the check mark. A, always do your best. When you're done with the red, put that up. And we're ready for our next color. So the next letter we're going to be doing is R, which means we respect each other and the teacher. Showing respect means we raise our hands and we wait to talk until the teacher has asked us to. Now, if I'm talking, you're not talking. But also, if one of your classmates is talking and asking a question, we need to be respectful and listen to them as well, because you might have the same question, and if you listen, then you'll know the answer without having to ask it again. So R means we respect each other and the teacher. Raising our hand reminds us to do that. So our next color is orange. So get your orange marker. And again, we're going to outline. So we're going to outline the R. And then we're also going to outline the hand. And when you're outlining, see how I'm just kind of coloring in those fingers? Because they're kind of close together. So I outlined my hand, outlined the R in orange. When I'm done, I snap that cap, put my orange away, and then I get my orange crayon. And then I can color in the R. Respect each other and the teacher. And the raised hand reminds us to do that. To wait to talk and be respectful. So when you're done with that, put your orange crayon away. Now the next letter is our first T, which means we take care of, well, it says take care of your supplies. Take care of our supplies or your supplies. And then I picked a picture of a marker because that is one of our supplies, is a marker. And the thing we do with our marker is we make sure we do what to that cap? Snap that cap. Okay, so this color is going to be yellow. Take care of your supplies. Next color of the rainbow is yellow. So we're going to outline the T. And then on the marker, if we look at our marker, let me put my cap back on so we can see what it looks like. What part is yellow? Just the cap and this little oval here in the middle. So since they're really small, I'm just going to color those in. I'm just going to color that part in, and I'm going to color in the cap. So I'm just going to color the cap and that little oval there, that little half of an oval, and I'm going to leave the rest of it white because on this marker, that's the way it looks. And when I'm done, I snap that cap because that's how we take care of our supplies. Snap that cap. So I put my yellow marker up. I need my yellow crayon. And then I can color in the T. And, oh, I don't have anything to color on my marker because I colored it in with a marker. So I just got to color the T. And then I'm done with my yellow and I can put that away. So T, we take care of the supplies. Our next letter is I, which means inside voices, please. So I picked a picture of the mute button on like a phone or a tablet or a computer. I'm sure you guys have seen this because when you see this symbol and it's got that line through it, because this is a little microphone or a little speaker, and you got your little sound waves, and when the line is through it, that means you can't hear anything, right? It means the volume is turned all the way off. So when we see this symbol, that reminds us that we need to be quiet and listen, or using our inside voices. So the mute button reminds us inside voices, please, for I. So the next color of our rainbow is green. So I'm going to outline my I. And then I'm going to outline that little speaker. And then when I'm done, what do? Snap that cap. Remember, that's T. Take care of our supplies. Snap that cap so your marker doesn't dry out. Put your marker up, and then you need to find your green crayon. And we're going to color the I for Inside Voices, please. And we're going to color that little speaker on the mute button. Okay, so once you're done with that, then we're going to put our green crayon up, and we're ready for our next rule. The next letter in artist is S, which means stay on task, which means stay busy. So I've got a picture of a pencil and a piece of paper, which reminds us that we always need to be working. In art class, we don't need to be talking or looking out the window or playing with an eraser or tying our shoes or playing with our markers or crayons. We need to be paying attention and staying busy because we don't have a lot of time to get our projects done. So if we stay busy, we'll get them finished. So S, our next color of the rainbow is blue. So get your blue marker. And we are going to outline our S. And then we're going to outline our piece of paper. And outline the pencil. Well, the pencil's really small. So what we're going to do is we're just going to color the pencil in with a marker. Color the pencil in, but outline the paper and outline the S. When you're done, you snap that cap, put your marker up, get out your blue crayon, and we're going to color the S. Stay on task, which means we stay busy, always working, never goofing off or playing around or talking to our neighbors, always working. Color your sheet of paper blue. Okay, so this is coming along, looking really good, really good. So we've done A, R, T, I, S. Our last letter of artist is T. So I put my blue crayon up and I'm ready for my last T, which is turn mistakes into masterpieces. Now, the picture I chose for this is a butterfly. And I picked this because of the video we watched, Austin's butterfly. And in that video, Austin, he didn't really make a mistake in what he was doing, but it wasn't what he wanted it to look like. He wanted it to be a masterpiece. And he knew he needed to keep trying. So the butterfly is going to remind us to turn mistakes into masterpiece. Now in art, there's about 3, sometimes more, but mostly just 3 things you can do really easy to turn a mistake into a masterpiece. The first thing you can do is you can always erase. If we're using a pencil and we're drawing and you don't like the way it looks, you've got an eraser, erase it and try again. And if it's still not looking the way you want it, you can always turn that into something else. So let's say you're trying to draw a butterfly, but you can't really get the wings and they're kind of looking more circular. Maybe it looks more like a caterpillar. Could you just turn that butterfly into a caterpillar? Absolutely. And then you can try again and try to draw the butterfly on another part of your paper. So you can turn it into something else. You can erase it. Or one other thing you can do is if we've got like a blank sheet of paper and we're drawing something and you've tried erasing, you've tried turning it into something else, it's just not working, you can always turn it over on the back and start again. Okay, so we turn our mistakes into masterpieces. We don't just throw it away. We always keep trying until we get it to look somewhat like what we want. But remember, we're just doing ish drawings right now. Just ish. They don't have to be perfect. So our last letter T is the last color of the rainbow. which is purple or violet. You'll hear it both ways, violet or purple. Two different words, it means the same color, violet and purple. So, get your purple marker and outline that T. And then you need to outline your butterfly. And then when you are done, when you do that marker, snap that cap. Remember, take care of your supplies, snap that cap. Put your purple marker up and you need to find your purple crayon. And you're gonna color in the T, color it purple. And you're gonna color in your butterfly, color it purple. Okay, and once you finish, you put your purple marker up and then we are done with our supplies. So you can zip this closed, zip my baggie closed. So my supplies are all ready for next time. So now we've got our rules. Always do your best. Respect each other and the teacher. Take care of your supplies. Inside voices, please. Stay on task and turn mistakes into masterpiece. This is what a good artist does. So, hope you guys had fun, and until next time.